Yo,
Salute.
what's good, Maze? Salute.
What's
How's your
going on,
day?
my bro?
Not much, man. I say the same thing every time because I do this show late. Long day,
Hmm.
you know, but we're still here executing the mission,
That's right.
you know, doing what we love to do. So yeah. How was your day?
Man, it was good, bro. Just hard work, making progress,
Yeah,
a
that
little bit of family time, all that good stuff.
yeah. That's the name of the game.
That's right. Pardon me, I'm gonna share this live with a bunch of people real quick so we get some people to tune in, some
Dope,
of the homies, some of the people that I got some love for so they can see how we doing and
dope.
checking on me live and direct. So what's going on with you,
Let's
man?
do
How
it.
was your day? How was your day, brother?
Uh, early day. I work from home. I don't go into too many details about what I do, but
Oh,
start a new job, long day, man. But yeah, can't complain too much.
get that money.
Yeah. How's my video? Is it clear on your end?
Clear with me.
Dope. And my audio, you can hear me?
Loud and clear, bro. I'm good to go. How's mine?
Awesome. Good. Perfect. All right. So yeah, man. I don't know how long you've been tuning into my show, my platform, but what I like to do is like pick top tier lyricists on the grind, coming up, so to speak, making noise, and really have them come on, listen to their music for a month, and talk about their art and get them to tell their story. And honestly, I've talked to maybe 15 guests at this point, and I think you definitely got a dope story to tell on top of the dope music. So thank you for obliging and thank you for coming on. I'll start like that.
Man, I'm grateful, man. I feel honored and just it's dope to have people that wanna hear my story and really respect the music. And from day one, I knew that you have a lot of love and a lot of attention to detail to this music. So it's it's reciprocated, man. I'm just as grateful to be on here, man. So I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Obviously, senior, you go very in depth with your artists and with the whole process, man. I respect it, so I appreciate it. And
That's
salute to
dope. I
everybody,
appreciate that.
everybody tuning in too. I can't shout out everybody, but I love y'all. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in. Couldn't do this without you. Salute.
I want to shout out one person in particular, Tiff Bed. I don't know if you know her through IG, but
I
apparently she
I know
drove
her
out
through
from Las
IG.
Vegas
Yeah,
to see you in Arizona
that's
perform,
right.
she told me. So
That's right.
she's been
Yeah.
waiting for this
Tiff,
patiently.
Tiff,
So
the
salute.
Tiff, the homie, man. She's a big supporter and just definitely one of my best advocates. And she has a platform of her own that she runs with a guy named King Tech. They had me
Yeah.
on, did a little interview too. So she's
Oh, they
definitely,
did?
yeah,
That's dope.
yeah. No, she does her thing, man. She's behind the scenes, but she's definitely a big supporter. I got a lot of love for Tiff, man.
Nice, nice. So yeah, let me start by telling you how I discovered you. It was actually shoddy throughout a couple of like artists. I would say more like street oriented in sound. And I peeped a few and like, street hip hop, so to speak, that revolves around hustling or crime, like in part. I think that's some of the best hip hop when it's done authentically. But I really like to hear it with an original point of view, some innovative wordplay, but natural. Like I need the full package as an MC. So
Yeah.
I actually passed up on a couple of the ones he referred me to, but when he referred me to you, I'm like, this dude is checking the boxes for what I like to hear when I dive into this type of hip hop. Um,
Lukey, what up? You got some good people in there, man. You got some pot. You got some of the Abyss boys in here, man. They're doing their thing, man. They set the standard for a lot of these podcasters, man. So it's dope to see. But what's dope is they support the shit, man. So it's dope. They love to see what you're doing, and they tuning in to Peep Game, man. So it's all love, man. They
dope,
shout out all them dudes, man. They good
no
people.
pressure. I mean, artists can't be promoted enough, in my opinion. So the more people doing what I'm doing, it never hurts, right?
Man,
And
I'm
I'm glad
I'm
people are
grateful.
tuning in.
Although we provide the backbone for a lot of what's going on, to a certain extent, we wouldn't even be here without the people documenting it. You know what I mean? So it's great
Yeah, yeah.
we need y'all media outlets just as much as you need us. It's symbiotic, you know what I mean? So, you know, when I think about that, I think about New Vegas and, you know, Cinematic and the Abyss podcast and Thousand Words and all them dudes. You know, all the documentary guys, the film guys, the
Right.
podcasters, you know,
Right.
Lukey, and Lukey's, you know, deeper than just, you know, the podcast game. He's on a lot of albums and, you know, he's the skit god, you know what I mean? So it's good,
Right.
it's good people, man. So, but yeah, we're grateful. We're grateful for y'all too, man. Respect.
Do you have a crew that walks around with you to catch footage and shit from time to
I
time, or
mean,
like
not like that.
how do you roll?
I think like when I went out to Top Shelf Premium, like I'm always around different artists and stuff. And like when I was in Myrtle Beach, I was taking pictures. I brought a camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we
Right.
all
Right.
love media, so you know, I may be with a beat maker or another rapper or just a you know or like anybody, but we usually hire like film people for like the shows and events and shit like that. So we're gonna get high quality media.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My son has definitely been that guy before too. My boy. Shout
Oh
out my
yeah.
boy, you the Mad Assassin. Yeah. Family
Nice.
gang. What up? Yeah, man. So honestly, like different people. Like when I was at the Top Shelf Premium event, my boy Wax Pack was with me. We got a project together. He's from Philly. He drove out. You know, met
Nice.
me there. He was kind of just like, yo. You know, I was like, yo, do me a favor, make sure we get a bunch of footage. He was like, I got you. So, you
Yeah.
know, just depends on the event, depends on when. But no, I don't have the caravan with me yet. I don't got the
I
film
hear you.
crew with me yet. But I like
Well,
the thought of that. I like where your head's at, man.
nice. Nice. To come. It's to come.
Mm,
So,
indeed.
and by the way, man, we're gonna go all over the place, but since we're on the topic of video, I think you really set yourself apart with the videos you put out. I'm just gonna be honest.
Thank you.
You know, I've been in the artist lane, so to speak, to varying degrees. It's not easy putting out a video that's not corny. I mean, most videos are corny. Let me put it that way.
True.
Most artist videos are corny. Yours are on point. So, what's your role in the videos that you put out?
I mean, I guess it depends on the individual video, but I try to take on as much as I can, meaning like I'm definitely taking my idea, I'm writing the story. So I storyboard. I do I mean I'm doing the wardrobe, I'm doing direction.
Oh yeah,
For the most part, what I'm not doing is editing and
yeah,
certain like timeline structure. Like I'll have guys be like, yo, it's gotta make sense from, you know, to go from this scene to this scene, but it's dark in
yeah,
this scene. Light. You got to. These guys are some of the kids that I work with that are trained or educated. They catch things that I might miss, even though you know
right,
I model my shit off of the film that inspired me growing up, and then also music videos in the '90s that are like
yeah,
a little bit more iconic, and you know like the Hype Williams and some of the other directors and screenwriters and all the people that was making dope ass videos in the '90s. So, you know, for me, it goes deeper than just like getting the camera and trying to rap in front of it or getting certain props and shit like that. Although that could be dope too. You know, you can make a dope ass simple rap video or in your face run and gun video. It's just that I kind of took pages out of all my videographers' books, and I got to the point where some people they're not gonna take my direction at all. We're just gonna do like they know what they're doing. Like when I shoot with certain people, it's like, all right, I know what I'm gonna get. And then other people, it's like I can basically direct the whole entire thing. For me, when I have control of it, I get a lot more attention to detail and I get a lot more creative. Not more creative than certain people because I have great videos and great edited videos that are just rap videos. But, you know, when I really want to sit down and just kind of like manifest my vision and I have someone that
right,
really doesn't have a style, quote unquote, it's like they're gonna do whatever I kind of like push them to do, you know. So in that case, able to be a little bit more like have that creative control where I basically do most of the directing, right? So I create the story and then I create the idea, and then by directing it, I'm telling the camera guy like, yo, we're gonna go over here, let's get a shot here. I think this
yeah,
looks
yeah,
good, you know what I mean? So and of course there's a lot of brainstorming. I'm a pretty I assimilate really well. I roll with all the punches. So, you know, whatever comes up and wherever the kind of the video guides you as long as you have an idea and you have like I've had videos where I'm like, here's what I'm gonna go do. The video I just released, the standalone video, was like, okay, I'm going to this state, to this property, to this, and I have this,
Oh
and this.
wow.
Here's the story. Here's what we're doing. I brought the paintings. I created one of the paintings on location. I painted it the night before on location,
Right.
and then we proceeded to get all the shots we needed. You know what I mean? So it was like execution easy. Some have been like, oh shit, we can't shoot here. Oh, this is closed, or we got all these obstacles. So if you're able to roll with the punches really well, and you have a vision, I just try to make the shit look more like just something different. Like, I'm all about the certain angles and the haptic movement. Like, I don't like to just have a stationary camera and rap in front of it, man. I think it goes deeper than that. So the videos have been one of my favorite things to experiment with, and it's been really fun. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad that it's noticed. I don't like to be compared to a lot of traditional, artists that are just shooting regular rap videos. Although I can appreciate it to a certain level, I think it goes a little deeper than that.
It's a great way to set you apart, in my opinion. So, gonna quickly get back to what I like about your music. I usually like to start around there.
Mm-hmm.
So, your bars are slick, your syllables are clean, you got the innovative wordplay, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
What I like, those, whether you're rapping about past crimes, because you do get into that, or your mental growth and realizations you're going through, you get into super fucking detail. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I think some artists that I hear that are trying to come with a street edge, they don't go into all the details, which leads me to believe they don't have much to say on the topic, aka they haven't lived the topic. Do you make the same observations when you listen to people trying to come with the street edge, or how do you read other artists?
I it's all different ways, man. So like for me, I don't it's different, man. Like, yeah, I catch a lot of it. So like it's real easy to tell. Like, also, like, I'm not like, you can hear like it's in the way someone delivers their shit and how they speak. I really pay attention to more like the confidence and how a lot of people rap, and like, like I get a feeling for that authenticity. I'm not saying, because I love music, for all different reasons. So it's like I love all different music. So
Right.
like, I don't like, I try not to analyze people's music and just strictly break it down, unless I'm like,
Right.
unless we're doing some sort of, like how you do a lot of, in-depth, like breaking
Right.
down on how people
Right.
rap.
Right.
Like I could, like when I say like, who's your GOAT? Okay, why is it your GOAT? Okay, like look at the delivery, the content, the songwriting, the artist structure, whatever. So you can break it down meticulously. And for me, yeah, I catch all that. I'll be honest with you, I don't really listen to too much like underground hip hop anymore. And I know it's gonna be a shocker to a lot of people, but it's more or less because number one, I don't want the influence. And I listen to some of the people I work with and some of the people that I'm coming up with, and I respect them and I respect their art form. And sometimes I just don't have the time to go through all the music that I would go through if I had the time. I'm a creator. I don't have time to really sit back and listen to all the music like that and really break it down. But when I do, I absolutely, like, if it's referring to street shit and you talk about like you hear a fake street rapper or something, I mean, I really don't consider myself a street rapper, although I definitely have a street element because I spend time in the streets. I'm not a gangster, I'm not a gangbanger, but we got busy when we were kids, you know what I mean? And we still get busy now, but it's not that I'm not in the streets anymore, so I'm really reflecting on what I've done. I mean, it's not that I'm not in the streets. I mean, I'm outside, I go wherever, but it's like you either active, like you getting busy, or you not. And for me, I made a decision, at certain points in my life where, I was more concerned with being responsible for my family and more dedicated to my craft and to my business and just living a good life. You know what I mean? So, I look for authenticity. I don't listen to artists that, also I don't really listen to a lot of shit that is super street because I'm not there anymore and I'm not in that mind state anymore. I don't really desire to hear that type of shit. Although I've worked with some street rappers because that's the thing is like everybody's kind of like a marksman at their own craft. Everybody perfects their own lane. You know what I mean? And my lane isn't super street. Now, when I hear people rapping on some street shit, I'm thinking a few things. Number one, they active right now. They're in the streets right now, right? And I could tell,
Right.
like if they're saying,
Right.
I am this right now, I'm doing this. Or they're like, I was doing this, but I'm getting rap money now. Or like, you know, it's the going so hard where it's like, all right, I know you're
It's a little
not.
much.
Yeah, well, it's like when it's extravagant, like punchlines and shit. Where it's like, all right, like I don't like my barrel's this
Yeah.
long. I'm shooting, but everybody got the same guns, man. Like no one's got, you know, no one's riding around with 50 cows on the back of like they in fucking Saudi Arabia or some shit. So, you know, I mean, like to me, it's overkill sometimes. No pun intended. Like it's really you know, there's a fine balance to it because you want to be able to tell your story. If you're from a street environment or you've been through street environments, you know, you've been to jail or you've been in prison, you've been, you know, you sold drugs or you hit licks or you know, you were a shooter or whatever the fuck. There's all different levels to this shit. But if you have to tell that story, like there's probably a lot of trauma and stress and struggle that goes behind that. So that's why you see a lot of people putting that element into their music. I don't think it's like intentional. Like when you listen to
Right.
Nas or Jay-Z or Andre or something, they're giving you parts of their environment. Now, the minute you cross over and you start to advertise it, that's where it starts to become, in my opinion, it becomes in question. And it's not that you may be the streetest dude ever. You may be a fake street dude. Either way, hip hop is not just comprised of glorifying street shit because the youth
Right.
listen to it. So for me,
Well,
there's got to be balance to it. But go ahead.
right. No, well, just to let everyone know, I went back as far as 2009 to start peeping your music, right?
Yeah.
So
If you want to address some of these comments, I've only been like peeping back down, so you're more than welcome to do whatever you want.
oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, man. So your artistic evolution, as I'll call it, is one of the most fucking interesting in terms of the subject matter that you've covered, leading up to kind of your style of music, so to speak. Right now, we'll definitely get into that. So
So,
let's start with your name though, because you got a dope name, an interesting name, Maze Overlay. I think I heard you mention it in one of your tracks, one of your older tracks. Did you like throw it in a rhyme and then realize that should be my name?
nah,
Or do you want to explain your name?
don't matter to me, man. I told you I'm an open book with you, bro. So you guys whatever you want.
All right.
Yeah, bro. Shout out my brother Ghost, man. I'm gonna try to be succinct because I know I can veer out too, but I know you got a lot of questions, so I'm gonna be as succinct and short-winded as possible, but still give you the details you want. So,
It's all good. It's all good.
shout out my brother Ghost. We grew up together, Ghost, man. We made music for many years together. We were in Vendetta Kings together, and he was just it was like 2011. You know, I'd always kind of had a little bit of an identity complex on the underground. Was like, you know, for a while it was like, you know, because Killer Priest, he would call me like King David. So I started going by that, and then, you know, I had my real name, which was B Valentine. That was part of my government name. So, you know, I throw it out there. I don't give a fuck. So, and I just really didn't know. You know, I was dope. You know, not as dope as I am now, obviously, but I was dope. But I struggled for that, like, man, what am I really feeling to call myself? You know what I mean? It was hard to figure it out. So,
Yeah.
my boy was looking at some artwork on the computer that we had gotten. I remember it was some crazy bugged out style, and he was looking at this artwork and he described it, and he was like, yo, that's like some Maze Overlay shit. And I was like, what
Right.
is that? What the fuck is Maze Overlay, bro? I'm like, and I just sat on it and it just stuck with me. And I'm like, you know, at the time, I think it was like, you know, it just kind of was like, it just seemed right. It was like, man, this is, you know, like certain people, they just have these dope names and you wonder like, yo, how do you get this dope ass name? And it just came to me. I was like, yeah, man, that's literally like, that's identity right there. So like, you know, this just how it flowed, Maze Overlay. I was like, it was just like.
Does it have a bigger meaning behind it?
Other
Did
than
you
the fact
apply
that,
bigger meaning to it?
yeah, because it's the obvious meaning at that point. So for me, that's why it fit, I think, more than anything. Like, it's not like it was so
Right.
serendipitous, like, oh, it's destiny. But it was like, well, when I look at myself, I'm like, okay, I'm a mistake. I'm like, not like this, like, oh, he's a man of mystery. But it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a hard one to figure out. They're like, what the fuck is this dude? Like, where you from? The east, the west, the this, the this.
Right, right, right,
You
right,
think you're this, you think you're this. Like, cool. I don't give a fuck. You know why? Because I'm gonna be me and I'm gonna be this weird ass blend of all these crazy mother. I'm a maze,
right,
bro.
right, right,
I'm a fucking
right.
maze. You just, I can't even
Makes
figure,
sense.
I couldn't even figure myself out for fucking so many fucking years. So let alone other people trying to fucking figure me out and put a finger on me. It's like, it's fucking difficult, bro. And then
Right.
I think the overlay is more like how like, you know, the way me and my boy explained it, we're like, you know, we in a lot of DMT and mushrooms at the time. And, you know,
Yeah.
it was like the universe, you know, with different layers to it. And it's like overlay. And if you look up maze
So,
overlay, it's actually a
were,
type of fashion design type thing or some shit. So who the fuck knows?
were you doing DMT before Joe Rogan was promoting it?
Uh, definitely not. Definitely not.
No, no. All
Absolutely
right,
not.
just checking.
Joe Rogan is the
You're
goat of
a
DMT.
pioneer.
He's the goat of DMT. Like
Yeah.
he didn't even he smoked DMT more times than I've like done shows, bro. Like this dude is more songs that I've written. This dude has went into an isolation chamber and the flotation tank with the salt water and just, you know, where you buoyant and shit and just gone to, you know,
Yeah.
he's a professional. Like I'm not on his level, or I'm like somewhere in between like Action Bronson and Joe Rogan. You know what
Got
I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
I think me and Action Bronson can do some psychedelics together. I'm scared to do psychedelics with Joe Rogan.
I don't think he does psychedelics. If I maybe I'm wrong, but I
What
don't
the
think he
fuck you
does.
mean? What you
I'm
think?
I'm a big Bronson fan.
What do you
I'm a
think
big Bronson fan.
DMT is? What do you mean?
Action Bronson does DMT.
Action Bronson does psychedelics. You ain't
Does
seen Easy Rider, bro?
does it?
8 hits of acid in the headband. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I've
Action
seen
Bronson
it.
does some drugs, bro. Good drugs. Good drugs.
So
Guarantee it.
so let's. I want to take it back to Phoenix for a second. Were you born and raised in Phoenix?
No, sir. I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida, and
Okay.
I never really lived there like that. My family moved to Maryland when I was really young. We lived in Virginia for a little bit. We lived in
Right.
Maryland for like the first 14 years of my life. In '99, we moved to Arizona. We moved to Phoenix, Arizona, because there was an Italian family that we were really close with, and they moved to Phoenix.
Right.
They were named
Gotcha.
the Grazianos. So we followed them out there, and we ended up staying with them for a little bit, getting on our feet. And then my
Yeah.
crazy ass family all eventually went their separate ways. But for the time
Right.
being, we spent some time in Phoenix, man.
But you seem to rep Phoenix? Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm overthinking it.
It's pretty obvious, man. You see the plates. You know, you see all my shit
Right.
it's all Phoenix, man. Like you know, that's where I became a man. That's where I have my family. That's where I'm from, bro. That's where I put in all my
Right.
work. I mean, growing up in Maryland was cool. I have East Coast roots. You know, that's where my
Right.
family was from. All my Italian relatives settled in like Jersey. They came in through Jersey, and then they settled in like some went to Florida, some went to Maryland.
Right.
My family, I have my uncle who was in Baltimore for a while. Now he's out in West Virginia. So they scattered throughout the East Coast a little bit, you know. So my family just kind of got tired of it, and you know, the ice and the snow and everything. And my dad was like, "Fuck it, let's go to the West Coast," you know. So that's how we ended up in Phoenix.
So I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I spent like 21 years in Phoenix before I moved to LA.
Oh,
And then I moved to
okay,
LA
okay.
for a couple years, and you know,
All right.
yeah, that's where we'll veer off. Go back to your question.
Because I was gonna ask you, how would you describe the hip hop scene in Phoenix? I assume you're tapped in to the
To a
scene.
certain degree, man,
Right.
it's an interesting one. This is one of my favorite questions, and I'm getting better and better at answering it. I just had a conversation. I was with Michelangelo, the producer in Phoenix. My boy Dan Nicholson brought him out for a show, and we were at my boy Unorthodox house. Unorthodox is another local rapper from Phoenix, and we had just stopped by Trill, which is our little hip hop shop. Like, it's dope.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a solid little venue. You know what I mean? I still feel like it don't get the respect it deserves, but at the same time, it's a staple in Phoenix. So we just got back from there. We're having a conversation, and you know, the way I liked how my boy said it, because Michelangelo was kind of, kind of nodding his head like, damn, y'all got like a little scene out here, it's a thing. And, my boy Docs chimed in and he's like, we don't really have a scene. We have a lot of talent. And, Arizona is a conundrum because it's such a melting pot of all these different people with all
Right.
these different, from all these different areas. And we have all these different sounds. So, me coming up on 90s hip hop and conscious hip hop and street hip hop and just real hip hop. We always tended to be more like lyrical than commercial, or
Right.
we had a certain like real hip hop sound, and I don't necessarily think that does you any favors. You know what I mean? Trying to get big with doing real hip hop, as they say. But
Right.
to me, there's certain artists that kind of have brought that back, and I guess that's why we're seeing this resurgence again. And
Yeah.
we've been doing it for a good part of 15, 16 years in Phoenix. It's now that people are starting to catch on to that real sound. People like Dan Nicholson. I'll just go through them, man. Tay the
Go
Crown,
ahead.
Mason Gray.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking
You
some
good,
notes, buddy.
man. You good, man. So Dan Nicholson, Mason Graves, AR, the whole Underdog group, Unorthodox, Deaf Child, Tay the Crown, uh, uh, Deli Every Day, Dan G, man, like we got some artists, man. I know I'm forgetting people too.
It's a good list. It's a good
Yeah,
list. It's a good
that's
starter.
a good start. But it's not even producers too. We got Rob De Niro, Bishop, my boy Oddfather, who's tuning in.
Oh,
Um, you know, uh, I mean, we got a history. Grim Moses, we got a history, man, and we got a lot of dope ass artists. And it's just the fact that everybody is a little bit. There's a lot of range, a lot of diversity, and not everybody gets along. And you got to remember, Arizona's a small little world, man. So people start to, if there's problems from the past, there might be personal problems, but they're both artists. And a lot of
right.
people, man, there's a lot of different types of promotion. There's a lot of pay to play for many years. And, there's just, without going into too much detail, it's an interesting scene. I think it's still kind of growing. We're kind of determining and defining what it is now. You know, I think what Dan Nicholson is doing with Underdog is very powerful because he's got a lot of momentum behind what he's doing. And he also, he puts money into his shit and he
Okay.
invests and he treats his shit like a
Okay.
business. And, he's tapped in. And when I say he's tapped in, he's really tapped in. So I think that it's taken me a while, and I'm grateful where I'm at now because I just went back home and got a lot of love and a lot of respect, and a lot of people come out to see me, and I was grateful for that. But that's something I fought for 15 years, 16 years before it even ever
Yeah.
came to fruition. So, I'm
I,
grateful
I
for it, and it's beautiful to see it, but it's, we're not there yet. We're not there yet until my shit is on radio, until Dan Nicholson shit on the radio, Grim Moses, fucking Tay the Crown, whoever is on the motherfucking radio, then we got work to do. You know what I mean? Because I know they playing Griselda on the radio in Buffalo. You know what I mean?
have you ever put out a radio single? Because as far as I've dug, I've never heard you put out an industry song.
What the
But
fuck is a
I
radio
I
single,
might have
bro?
missed some things.
What the fuck is a
No,
radio?
I'm
I got some. I'm sure. Like I put out so much music. Like you got to remember too. Like when I rebranded, I kind of like it switched. Like I had a little like a mixtape I did. Right, it was over a bunch of Alchemist beats.
right.
One of those songs could have hit the radio for sure. But it's also like, here's the thing.
I'm saying radio. I know,
Commer-
I'm just used to saying the word
commercial
radio, whatever the
style,
fuck you want to
edited,
call it. Yeah,
like a commercial
yeah.
style edited song.
Industry, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've done shit like that before. It's just like I don't specifically make music for radio. I like to make music that's just dope enough to see
Yeah,
if we make the shit that we're really good. Joey Badass, right? Action
yeah,
Bronson, Griselda. There's
yeah,
people that just make music and they don't conform. It just happens to be dope enough. And then instead of someone trying to make music for the radio says, "Oh shit, you have a following. We now will play that sound." You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like you
yeah,
don't got to cater exactly to that. My version of that is like having quality mixing and mastering. Maybe bringing in an instrumentalist or a singer or a musician. These are the things that I think make things more radio friendly, because it's more musically based. You know what I mean? I would love to have my music on the radio, and I think, just from having personal conversations with me, some of my ambition is not just to be an underground MC. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I have potential to make some really, really dope music. And I'm not saying I'm not currently making dope music. I just know that I constantly have room to grow. I always say, I live by, I'm never too good to grow. You know what I mean? So the music I'm going to make in a year and a half from now is going to blow the shit I'm making right now out of the water. You know what I mean? So I think my potential is to get there, but go ahead.
It's dope that you have that inner energy to keep putting shit out. Not everyone has that,
You mentioned before, like, sometimes your life ain't worth rapping about. I'm paraphrasing, right? It's like you're stretching, and that's the thing is, like,
you're right. I have said it.
When I was 20, I thought I had been through everything.
Right.
Got to my late 20s and was like, yo, that was a wild ride. And that kind of was like the rebirth of my career as an MC, because, to be honest with you, I only had 10 years to really rap it, maybe being a kid, 15 years to rap about. As my life progressed and just was like, got wild, like, there's stories, there's certain experiences that I've been through. And also, you have to be able to put it in a certain light, in a certain voice, in a certain way. It's not just like, I have a story to tell. Bro, there's bums that have a more interesting light than some rappers.
Yeah.
Fucking rappers know how to polish it up and make it, they finesse it. And here's the thing. When your life is that, when you have a life or a perspective or something is that golden, and you have the ability to do it, to tell it, those are the best ones. When you check all the boxes. And I'm not saying I'm, Andre 3000 or Kendrick Lamar or Nas or something, because everybody's going to have a different preference on voice and cadence and style and all that. But when a rapper's like, damn, the songwriting's there. Their life is there. Like, man, they got a crazy life. That shit is wild. And sometimes we all go through different experiences, and everybody processes it differently. Sometimes the people that have the craziest lives, they're probably not even rappers. You know what I mean? Like, but there are some rappers who have been through some crazy shit and lived to tell it, and those are the people that I think we want to hear their story. You know what I mean?
The thing is, being that dude that has the life story, which you can't fabricate it, so to speak, that has the talent to articulate, that has the fucking intestinal fortitude to stand the game itself. It's a fucking rare. It's a rare breed of person, man. That's my opinion.
I agree, man, and that's why you see a lot of rappers talking like the rare breed, one of a kind, 101. It's very true. Quantum physicists are the same. Sketch artists are the same. People that can, there's savants out, people that can memorize shit, magicians, everybody that is that special. Rappers tend to do it a little bit too much. Like, they're really not that special. They're really not. Like, let's be real. Like, let's be real though. Of all the things in the fucking world, rappers are not that. Like, to be able to put some words together, bro, even if your life was cool. Like, are you cleaning up the oceans? Are you fucking, like, you designing computer chips or some shit? Are you like creating new technology that's gonna, like, make us more sustainable, or like, you building rockets or something? I mean, come on, man. Like, I think we put rappers on a pedestal. We should be putting biologists and sociologists and therapists on a fucking pedestal. But it's how our culture works. So I'm not mad at it. It takes a lot of skill, and it takes a lot of confidence and vulnerability to put yourself out there as an artist. And I think that's probably the greatest step. Putting words together is cool, unless you're going to inspire somebody or do some sort of good, or it's got some sort of greater good behind it. If you're just chasing a bag and you're just putting words together to get money, what the fuck? I'm not impressed, man. I'm more impressed by somebody who could paint, or like a beautiful voice that's got no followers on Instagram. That's like, oh man, that's fucking beautiful.
I'm not saying I respect rappers that don't rap about anything, but very few people turn a profit off of music. And if you find yourself in that category, you definitely, in my opinion, have some traits that not everyone has, because most people aren't going to get a dime off of
Yeah,
music.
I don't agree.
That's
I don't agree. I don't agree
no.
because the labels
Okay,
have an agenda and they take
right,
some of the most talentless bullshit that perpetuates nothing but dog shit culture and ruining the fucking culture, being culture
right,
vultures, and they can put that on a pedestal and make music out of it and make money off of it, right? Make real money off it. So money and numbers should never ever be constituted specifically with skill or talent or something being special.
right,
Now, within the mix, there are absolutely are those people you're talking about. You ain't gonna get to be Outkast or Jay-Z or Eminem or Busta Rhymes or somebody without having something special, right?
yeah,
But I'm not gonna go through the list of dog shit artists over the years, specifically pop and hip hop,
right.
that are talentless garbage,
Okay,
right? And by a lot of people's standards. But
but
because the record label wanted to push a certain narrative, them motherfuckers are looked at like legends and goats, right? So I'm not gonna
yeah,
name names, but I'm telling you, they are there.
yeah. I never really mess with B grade rappers, so I'm not up on
I feel
fucking everything.
that, but
Just to
I'm
be
sure
sure.
you've came across a couple B grade
Yeah, yeah,
rappers
no,
that were pretty
no,
rich.
no, no, of course. But even being an Action Bronson, he just put out a fucking sneaker. He's got a show. He's got a fucking
Yeah.
books. Like, not everyone can do that shit,
Well,
in my opinion, man.
Action
Or
Bronson's a character too.
Danielson or whatever. You have your loyal fan base, you know. So
Right. It's true.
it
Hey,
in my opinion,
sometimes it's just the hard work and the dedication. You may
right,
suck. I'll tell you right
right,
now. There's dudes
yeah,
out there that are not good at rapping, but they go hard as fuck and get. I know some of them. Some of them from Arizona. The few names I
okay.
didn't mention. They can take it how they want to
Got
take
it.
it. I don't give a fuck. If I forgot your name and I fuck with you, I apologize. If not, all disrespect intended. Corny motherfuckers out there repping fucking Phoenix, repping Arizona on some dog shit. Motherfucker, and they got cosigns too. This should be pretty clear for everybody now, just in case there was any fucking smoke that needed to be cleared. My boy Dan Nicholson, though, he know what time it is. It's all good. These are the little. I throw some subliminals out there. I don't give a fuck if the shoe fits. Wear it, motherfucker.
So I don't want to, stick too much to the crime stuff, but it is something that interests me because growing up, the people that I knew that were in that kind of world, I'm not going to say the exact same world as you, the way you describe it in your music, they didn't strike me as creatives.
Right.
They struck me as people that wanted instant gratification, fast money, things like that. You know what I mean? So I find it that when there's an artist that kind of goes through that in their life, it's an interesting story. So were you doing music and that shit at the same time? Was that a lifestyle that worked together?
What do you mean,
or
music
you kind
and
of
what?
came back to
Music and what?
and whatever street shit you might have been doing?
You know what's funny is when I was really, I guess, I don't know, man, it's just yes and no. I mean, there was times in my life where I made music and I was in the streets, but sometimes I wasn't making street music. Sometimes I was rapping about like government shit or political shit or conscious shit.
Yeah.
Or, like I was inspired by Dead Prez a lot and, Talib and Mos and a lot of conscious hip hop. So you see that in a lot of my earlier phases. I think a lot of MCs do that, man.
Right.
I don't know. I think there are too many MCs and rappers who like to talk about the street shit they do. I would never be so specific and so accurate to where I'm gonna be like snitching on myself or putting too much information into my shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that there has to be a degree of separation, but yeah, bro. Like when I was doing some of the craziest shit, I was not making music that day about doing some of the craziest shit. I didn't tell those stories till 10, 12 years later. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that just doesn't even seem right to me. Like, and even then, like I'll say some shit that I did, but like, I'm never gonna talk about like accuracies and shit. Like these young kids nowadays, damn near be giving all the information you need to get fucking caught.
I guess what I'm saying, did you even give a shit about rhyming when you were going through that part of your life? Were they coexisting at all?
Yeah, because I was working with Killer Priest. I was you know, Tragedy Gaddafi and Planet Asia, and I was still working with like legendary people, Sean Price, Rock Marciano. I was still working with a
Sean
lot of
Price?
legends,
Wow.
and this is like, you know, 2009, 10, 11, 12. You know, Tragic Allies was in there, ST Nack and, you know, Perp and Code 9 and all them. They were all in there too. You know, it was a certain era, and yeah, like I just was more into music that was rapping about shit that mattered. And I feel like the shit that I was doing in the streets only mattered because I needed money. And I that's just how we lived. To me, there came a point in time where they only really overlapped during like a small window. Like when I reinvented it as Maze Overlay, and I came home in 2017 after doing like 2 years, and I really was like, okay, I kind of know who I'm gonna be, right? Like there was a lot of Bourdain, you know, there was a lot of ESPN, there was a lot of just culture in certain different ways, and I was able to, like, you know, write a lot of rhymes when I was locked up. So I kind of
Right.
reinvented. Now when I got out, I still, you know, I still fucked around a little bit, but it was like in my mind, I was like, I gotta get out of this shit. And I knew that I didn't want to do street shit forever, bro. Like on any level, because I knew that at a certain point I had to legitimize and get a business and invest my money and actually like take this shit serious. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was always very careful, and you know, there was definitely like, you know, I got some records from like 2011 where I was, you know, I was talking that shit, but I was very careful to be real roundabout and like, you know, anonymous about
Got
my
it.
shit. That's the way it should be, man. Like people should know who the fuck you are. You should be able, you should have the space to be violent or, you know, aggressive or assertive or street and be like, yo, I'm with that shit, but then still be like, yo, but that wasn't it. You know what I mean? Like there's gotta be like the yo, I'm not living in, you gonna live and die by that? That's the wrong shit, man. That's not
Do,
it. That's
do,
not it.
do you feel that your sound today, and I'm gonna go through your body of work with you, like not step by step. I got more written here to go through, but do you feel like where you've landed now with your sound? I know you talk a lot about personal growth, like in your New Vision project stuff, which I listened to Holy Science front to back. We're gonna talk
Mhm.
about that one, but do you feel that the street kind of appeal is like your Trojan horse
Mhm.
into the game, so to speak, where and then you want to expand on more topics, or
That's an interesting question, my man. I mean, there's definitely, you know, I mean, look, speaking of Trojan horses, like, I mean, yeah, I'm tactical. I understand how this shit works. Understand also that there's nothing in my music I won't live or die by. So, you know, let that be known. But uh I would say that you're accurate on a certain level. You know what I mean? The intention isn't to, hey, I'm gonna come in this way and switch it up. There's always gonna be a ruggedness to my music. You can never fully make somebody unstreet, right? Now this element seems to come up in a lot of your dialogue. So it's interesting how I'm curious how you perceive it, you know, this whole street dynamic. But for me personally, I think that I wanted to tell. So I make projects and I have a bird's eye view because I know when I'm gonna release shit and when I'm gonna release it, and how I'm gonna release it.
right?
When I'm when I'm trying to introduce myself and I know that people don't know who the fuck I am. Well, you know, that was 3 years ago, you know, with Low Sports and Retro God, right? Flashbacks and certain videos. 94 Deadstock was created, but, you know, hadn't even seen a video yet till the following year, you know, so I knew people didn't know who the fuck I was. So how do I want to come out? Well, I want to come out swinging. I want to come out with some assertiveness. I want to come out and let people know what the fuck it really is because they don't know anything about me. I'm not going
Yeah.
to come out with like the polished version of myself talking about, you know, um, you know, music business and alchemy or elevated shit. You know what I mean?
Which
Even
we're
though
gonna
people
get
get there
into
too.
that stuff. We're gonna get into
That's fine
that.
too. But I'd like to kind of be like, hey, here's who Maze Overlay is. Here's where the fuck I'm from. Here's what the fuck I done. right? So nobody's gotta be like, I don't expect anybody, especially like this is why like music is interpreted so much differently from fans, artists, media outlets. And so I don't want anybody to hear my shit and be like, oh my God, this is just a street rapper.
Yeah.
That don't even make when I hear Nas, yeah, if I listen to old Nas, I'm like, yeah, Nas is a street rapper. But Nas is a conscious, fly, debonair, intellectual street rapper. And this was like the foundation for a lot of us. Andre 3000 is there for me. And then there's newer people that I put up at the top, but I personally don't. I think that I love music. I love hip hop that's not street. I love hip hop that's super street
Right.
because I've been in different scenarios in my life where like right now I'm at a point where I don't got to do nothing street. I'm
Right.
blessed. So, but here's the thing.
I
Sometimes I'll still listen to street music because it kind of bring me back and give me a feel, kind of keep me on my toes. Even like Tobe Nagiwe, one of my favorite artists that's out right now. He was like, I listened
is
to
dope.
He's like, I've listened to this, and this, and he mentioned Griselda. He mentioned some positive shit. He's like, just to keep a balance. You know what I mean? So I love a little bit of everything. Everything has its place. But for me, I just want to make dope music in general. It don't have to be considered street or being a subgenre or a category, or it doesn't have to be compartmentalized. Really, if people interpret, some people are going to be from the street and let's hear my story and be like, yeah, he's not really that street though. Now people that are not street at all are gonna hear my story and be like, oh, this dude's street. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on the perspective of the person that's getting the fucking music, man. They're all gonna
Right.
interpret it differently. I don't make my music to be street or not street. If I get a beat, it invokes a certain energy. Maybe a certain energy is attached to a certain point in my life. So I could harness that. I could actually channel that and harness that energy. You know what I mean? And then I get on that tip.
Part of the reason I asked that question is I feel like quote unquote conscious rappers, that you can be conscious about many things. I think they have a harder time, in 15 seconds on Instagram or fucking TikTok conveying what they're about. Whereas people understand the kind of street hustling narrative a bit better and it could resonate faster. Not that I like that that's the way the game is, but that's my personal observation up to this point. So I was just wondering if it was at all part of kind of, I don't know, your approach at all.
To a certain extent, controversy sells, right?
Yeah.
Action movies, love movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
action movies. Yep.
So I get it. For me, like, I really just think it's real life. So when you're just authentically you, right, and then you're just giving people the best version of the most accurate version of yourself, that's what people want, right? They want everything from Brother Lynch and NWA to Mac Miller and Slum Village, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's all hip hop. It's all hip hop.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's really because that's who really for all we know, that's really who the fuck they were. You know what I mean? So it's you can compartmentalize it for sake of conversation, but to me, like, I don't think anybody should, like, you could put something in the category and say, yeah, this shit is more street because of street elements. But to me, it could be fake, man. It could be fake. That's why it's like it's just be you. Just tell your fucking story. If your shit happens to come out like this, cool. You know what I mean? My thing is be careful on how you leave the listener, right? If you leave the listener wanting to go rob a bank, then maybe question how you delivered that and that street shit or whatever. If you got them being like, damn, like, yeah, there's money in this, or maybe I'm trapping right now, or maybe I'm hustling right now, and there's money in this, but I got to invest this money. I got to do something with it. That's where I come in, where I feel like I kind of ride a fine line of, like, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm not like I don't demonize people rapping street shit, and I don't glorify it either. You know what I mean? I think it's it has a time and a place. This is hip hop, man. Hip hop came from the streets. You know what I mean?
I kind of step outside of myself when I analyze things, but personally, for you to be a GOAT, you have to have the personal tracks too. You got to be rounded. You got to get personal. You got to have different looks, So that's my personal, view on attempting to be a GOAT. So So let's dive into your new, sorry, no, the evolution of your craft a bit more. Can we start with Vendetta
Sure.
Kings? I think your first release was in 2009, right? Is that about right?
Nah, like 2008, I think The Promise went up on iTunes. It was back then. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, like roughly 2007, I think there was a mixtape. In 2008, there was a project. Killer Priest was on there, and it was all of
A-
Vendetta Kings.
And you guys are more of a collective, right? Is that how you would describe yourself?
Nah, we were a full group. Like we were
Full group?
actual. Yeah, we were a complete group. We didn't go by that term, or we didn't use terms like that back then. It was more like a super team, a super group of underground MCs, man. It was me, Ozzy the Art Grader, John the Baptist, Ghostman, and Solomon, and then Contra Psalms, who actually goes by War Season now. So a little bit of history. Um, uh, you know, it was everybody was from different places. Contra Psalms from LA.
Got it.
Me, Ghost, and Solomon from Arizona, John the Baptist from Staten Island, and then rest in peace, and then my boy Ozzy the Art Grader from Richmond, Virginia. So I linked up with all these people. I actually went to Daily Finesse. That's another one of my AZ boys right there. That's the homie right there. But I went out to Staten Island. I went out to Richmond. You know, just made my rounds. I brought everybody together in Memphis, Tennessee. Me and Ghost were staying out in Memphis for a little while, and I brought everybody to this house, and we recorded this album in a fucking closet. And the screen, the spit screen was like the front of a speaker or some shit like that. And we made this album, and I was just learning how to engineer and shit. So I made it work, man.
Just to let everyone know that's listening, I mean, you were on some like anti-establishment shit, like anti-government. Let me know if that's a good description. You'll probably describe it better. But when you came together, is that the tip you came together on, or did you come together and then realize, you know what? Why don't we focus on this?
Nah,
Because every
nah,
every track was about that kind of stuff, from what I
it's
saw. Okay?
interesting because if you listen to like Under the Sun, it's not like that at all. It's a
That's
lot of it's just
the first one.
Under
That's
the
the first.
Sun is an album that we're all on. I don't know if you heard, if you got to Under the Sun, but Under the Sun was more on some hip hop shit. There were a couple anti-establishment, and definitely you're right. That was something that I was on heavy. We all had a conscious background, I guess, but that wasn't like, I mean, I was more political. OZ was more on like the science and the alchemy and the, different things. I think he was probably, a little bit higher on a different level that I was at the time. I was on some like, fuck the elite, it was all about just tearing down the system. And, I still have a lot of that in my belief system. I just don't really, I don't want to focus on anything that's about chaos. I'm all about order, you know what I mean? And I think the
Right.
more we manifest order, the more we think order, the more we manifest it. But definitely Vendetta Kings was founded on Fists Up, and that was honestly a lot of my direction. If I wasn't the front man and the one that was executive producing all the projects, we might have went in a different direction. There was just a lot of biblical shit, a lot of, and I'll be real with you, like we did not have the shit figured out yet. We were still learning. So you had 5% God body shit, Islamic shit, cosmic shit, Christian
Yeah.
shit, Messianic Hebrew shit, and a little bit of street shit, and a little bit, and then we kind of mixed it together, and we all came from different backgrounds and different states.
But
We all just knew
but
we were nice, and we were conscious, and we were
but
lyrical, really.
you guys were like super lyrical. Like I went back and I haven't heard people rhyme like that in a long time. Obviously, I'm going back to 2009. You reminded me of our like dense lyrical shit from the late
Mm.
90s with a clear purpose behind it. But like in 2009. But the thing is, you guys were super nice with
Mm.
it, in my opinion, man. Like you guys were elite, like pretty much all of you from what I
Yeah,
heard, man.
no,
So,
I
and
felt
you're intelligent as well, man. It wasn't stupid shit. So
appreciate it.
it was Impressive, man. So I'm just gonna quote some lyrics quickly from one of the tunes so people understand the kind of tip you're on. So this is a quote from The Watchmen, 2010. Torn homes, bodies lying dead in the crossroads. Dark brotherhood worships skull and crossbones. Symbolism in the fashion and the advertising. Pollute the food that you eat, chemical byproduct, whatever drives the profit and gets you to buy products. That's the tip you're on at that time. So
Yeah.
that was some shit, you know?
You know, I don't discredit any of my earlier work. I think that there are absolutely things that I don't agree with. I mean, that's what happens when you rhyme when you're 22 and then when you're older in life, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trying to figure out the world.
Yeah, and there's a lot of accuracies there. There's just, you know, for me, I think that there's just something about identifying the problem and then focusing on the solution. Whereas I would rap about the problem. And I
Right.
think to a certain extent you kind of needed that to acknowledge shit, right? That's why you got like, you know, Cannabis and, you know, Immortal Technique and Jedi Mind Tricks and or you know, anybody who just enlightens shit or comment or, you know, they want to drop knowledge or whatever the fuck it is, Wu-Tang even. Where it's like I feel like there was a generation for that and there was a time for that. And once I kind of got to the point where I wasn't like I didn't want to be a part of that negative focus on the problem. And not to say all the artists I name are, because like I mentioned some pretty diverse artists. I'm just saying it happens to be like when you're really trying to like get to people's minds, sometimes like people just aren't ready, man. And I kind of got
No,
to the point where
oh, go ahead.
I just got to the point where I just was like, I want to just make music just from the soul and from the heart and shit this about my life and just people.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. One thing I know, I've already laid that foundation to where once people go into my music, right, the bigger I get and the more traction I get, the, you know, more popularity, whatever, the more people are going to look into my story. And there's a pretty big degree of separation from Vendetta Kings. To be honest with you, I didn't retain a lot of those fans. There's not many
Right.
Vendetta Kings fans that listen to Maze Overlay. And that's okay because, you know, I was in a certain stage. I grew, you know, it provided me growth. You know, I became the artist I became today from doing Vendetta Kings, you know,
Right.
and those are my brothers, man. And I lost one of my brothers. Also, I felt like when my boy John the Baptist passed away, that was kind of the end of an era. You know what I mean? So,
But by the way, I thought he might have been the nicest
I
in the
think,
crew.
yeah,
Is that a fair statement?
I think that's fair. Yeah, yeah. What's crazy is he had this potential and he just had, you could tell it was just so unadulterated. Yeah, man. And for all intents and purposes, I mean, I have different, everybody does something a little bit different, but like, yeah, bro, like John the Baptist was incredible. Never really had the chance to be cultured or A&R'd or anything like that. I just kind of let him lyrically flex, not let him, but I mean, I pushed him to be like, yo, just go in. Here's the name of a track.
So
He was good at songwriting. He could bar the fuck out. He could drop knowledge. He was scientific. He was historical. The kid had a bachelor's, man. He had I think he had an associate's and a bachelor's. He had like a couple degrees. He was only 28 when he passed. This kid was a fucking genius, bro.
what happened, if I can ask?
Yeah, man. I mean, his obituary is out there. His name's Jonathan Bowman. He's from Staten Island. He was just like, you know, he was in the thick of it, you know, running around, doing his thing, hustling, getting money, fucking around, started fucking around, getting high and shit, pills.
Got
You
it.
know what I mean?
Got it.
Overdose. You know, someone, you know, whoever he was with just basically dumped his ass in the streets and that's it.
Got it.
Hit it off, you know what I mean? So like, you know, investigation was shit, you know, didn't really, I mean, bro,
Got it.
Puerto,
Got it.
you know, it's like Puerto Rican dies in Staten Island and didn't seem to give a fuck, you know, but he was just, you know, he was getting busy, bro. He was fucking around, you know what I mean? So I remember talking to him right before I got locked up. He died like a month after I got locked up, and you know, he seemed like he just wanted to get out of New York, bro. He wanted to get out of New York. He used to come to Phoenix a lot, and you know, that was kind of like I have a song coming out where I kind of mentioned he was kind of like the glue. We all just didn't know it, you know, because I was the front man. So I would always force people, yo, let's get together. Come on, let's go. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to record. We got to record. And for him, it was more like his energy and his youthful spirit and his potential that kind of kept us, you know, together, so to speak. So once he was like gone, it was like, you know, we had that. We just lacked that. I mean, there's albums. Vendetta King's albums are very interesting. You're gonna find you listen to Digital Angel and it's only me, John, Ghost, and like there's a couple Solomon verses. You listen to Gospel of Kings and it's the majority is just like me, Ghost, and OZ. Baptist is in on the album, so it's like, you know, you hear The Promise and you hear Under the Sun, and we're all on it, right? So those are unique albums. So like these are things that, you know, that stand out to me. But this is a history that's kind of untold, man. I have footage. I'm sure there'll be, you know, I'll make a documentary one day, but not a lot of people know, you know.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
you know.
Honestly, I like going in those corners because, like, every artist, whether they make it or not, they put their life into this shit. You know what I'm saying? And there's a story to be told. That's what this fucking platform is about.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's an avenue for that.
Absolutely.
How did you guys connect with Killah Priest?
So I mean, I had already linked up with Hellraiser and from Sons of Men, and so I told Hellraiser that I wanted to go directly to Killah Priest to work with him, and he put us in touch. And then after that, the rest is history.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
We brought him.
So
we brought him out to Phoenix.
So I guess moving along, when did your involvement in Vendetta Kings end, and then when did you start New Vision Project? That's an interesting departure I want to get into, but was there a gap there?
A little bit. I think that we were all, like, me and my boy Ghost studied together more than anybody. So when we were doing Vendetta Kings, we kind of got tired of like the like biblical crusader shit. To be honest with you, like it was kind of overdone. And you know, we had already made, like, when we made Gospel of Kings, we were like, bro, we can't make anything that's like in this department that's topping that. You know, this is like spiritual gangster shit. Like, it was tough, bro. Like, it was kind of like, you listen to Gospel of Kings, man, like, we fucking rapping. But it's like, you know, it's like we're going to war, like, or something. Like, it's not
right.
It is lyrical war too, but like there was a lot of like realistic belief systems in there, and those died. Those died, man. We felt like, I mean, I'm not gonna get like all like, you know, new age on you, but you know, with it, we feel like with the whole like age of Aquarius, like with things shifting a little bit, and maybe it was just within us, but we had done enough research and studying where we were like, man, we're done with like this negative, conscious,
dark shit.
You know, yeah, like
heavy
cryptic kind of, yeah, heavy. And like, you know, always trying to like, you know, and you know, we grew up on cannabis and Wu-Tang and shit, man. And you know, we wanted to put people on and kick knowledge and all this shit. And now,
so go ahead. Go ahead, bro. No, I just wanted to frame for the people, like, if you had to describe what New Vision Project was, if you're writing a press kit or whatever, how would you describe it? I just want people to I'm going to quote a few lyrics to give them a taste of it. But how would you describe it?
I keep Vendetta Kings and New Vision off of my EPK, all right, first of all. But okay. This is strictly history at this point, man.
Right.
You know, underground history, I guess. But, you know, we work with a lot of legends, but
right.
Nah, man. Go ahead, ask me again, bro. Let me put this.
No. How would you describe New Vision Project? What's your elevator pitch, or how would you describe it in a press?
An awakening, bro. It's an awakening. It was just an awakening, dog. It was there was definitely a shift from. It was basically like, yo, you take these mad ass fucking street conscious rappers and you give them some mushrooms, bro. Like, you know. Do some healing, bro. You know, You open the pineal gland up a little bit, I guess. I don't fucking know, bro. We spent so much time rapping about this third eye, right? And then when you really actually start to become like feel like, yo, I've been through some fucked up trauma. This shit is crazy. We're manifesting the chaos that we're thinking about. You know what I mean? I believe that. I believe that shit. Like, I really think we got to a point where we were like manifesting a dark dimension. Like, look, the world's crazy.
You're opening a portal.
I don't know, bro. The world's crazy. The last thing that we need is to focus on this shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, New Vision was very much so an awakening for Vendetta Kings, and it was like a fresh start because I made that first record. I was in an interesting place, man. I was going through relationship shit. I was fasting a lot. I was changing my diet. I was doing a lot of cleanses. I have people in my life, like my boy Dashmesh. He's a little mini wizard, man, and he really pushed me in good directions. I've got a lot of wisdom and guidance from him, from the psychedelics to the combo to the detoxes to the fasting and all that shit. So
Is that the? I don't know if the word is. You shouted out like a spiritual guide on one of these tracks. Would you call it that? I don't know like what you would call it. Is that what you're talking about?
Nah, I'm not sure if
Gotcha.
you're talking about Ra
Gotcha.
or Hermes or
Right. Right.
I have no idea, but like Yahweh or some shit like that. Like, I think we started to blend. I'll be real with you. What we started to blend like, we were kind of coming out of this like messianic Israelite, kind of cryptic, and then we started to really get into like Kabbalah and mysticism and real New Age teachings, and we kind of blended them to where it became, and where I was off was all the New Age shit. And I'm not saying all the New Age shit is off, but I'm just saying, motherfuckers ain't finna turn into like a ball of light. Use your macabre to turn into a ball of light and just like ascend off the top of a fucking mountain or some shit. You know what I mean? But
But no, go ahead.
Hold on. But I do think that there's a lot of truth to that. When it comes to like talking about chakras and energy points and shit like that. But where you find all of that, you could just when I got to the Giovanni Lux shit, when I got to the American Pharaoh shit, you hear shit that's a little bit more grounded, right? There's some projects out there where I'm just like, you could tell I'm out there. And to me, that's trying to find out who the fuck I really am. I'm still searching, man. I wouldn't say I found all of it, but I say I found what I was looking for, and now I'm able to manifest on a different level. I know this seems kind of convoluted and it's kind of crazy, man, but like, I'll be real, like, it just happened at a time where I feel like genuinely there was a lot of shifts spiritually and cosmically going on during the early late 2000s, and it seemed like a lot of energy. And like I said, this could be all just our personal journey, but a lot of people everybody was talking about 2012, bro. Like, it was supposed to be some end of the world or some shit. And when we got really deep into it, there was a lot of people that we retained truth from, like, but there was also the people that were in between that we were like, David Wilcock and David Icke and Santos Bonacci and all these like out there kind of guys, you know what I mean? But it was like there was a lot of truth in what they were saying, but there was a lot of shit that's really fantastic. So a lot of people just treat it like, this is just some crazy bullshit. We went down every rabbit hole, dog. We went down every fucking rabbit hole to get
listen.
this.
I think that was some of your best lyricism. I like concept tracks, and you had some of your best. I don't even know how to write like that. When I was rapping, I couldn't write shit like that. I didn't even have the knowledge and understanding to write shit like that, to be honest. But I just want to give people an idea, a quote. So the track is called Artifacts off the Holy Science album. You're like, human nature, we all interrelated, unifying the cultures, all of them correlated. The coral in danger, the planet is in the thick of it. I don't want to become a victim of ignorance. Ignore differences, every voice significant. Your choice is affected by intuition and instrument. Inner compass navigating this dream energy fabric, weave in and out of the scenes. Like, you got tracks about how the universe started. You're literally playing it in your lyrics. You're talking about topics like evolution and stuff. Like, it's some of your best writing, man. Like, I don't know if everyone could dig it, but I thought it was some of your
You
best
know,
writing on
it's
there.
interesting
So,
to me. Like I could put it all under a hip hop umbrella, but it's really hard. To me, what I had to do too is I realized that I had so much inside of me. Like now, maybe you understand the maze thing, right? Like there
yeah,
was so much in there, and so many different phases of life that I had to figure out how to put it all out there. And what I do now is I put it all together. You're gonna hear some New Vision shit in Maze Overlay shit. You're gonna hear some Vendetta King shit in there. I even mentioned it specifically in certain tracks. I bring up I may say New Vision or Vendetta King, like the same way I say Calistro, right? It's
right.
everything is man. You'll hear me do an album, and I'm gonna mention. I take a song title and mention it in a different song, right? Like I got a track
Right.
called 24 Karat Love, but I put that in a rhyme in a different song on the same project. I kind of recycle and reuse my own theories and my own experiences to a certain degree. You know, I mean, everything's original when I create it, but I'm still pulling from a lot of the shit that I've been through.
Yeah.
And I had to go, the fact that I could do some grimy Wu-Tang style shit, evolve into some, you know, kind of like cosmic cryptic shit, and then go right into this kind of cosmic elevation, fifth dimension shit, and then come out of that and say, you know what, I need to really think about who I am and how I want to present myself to the world, and that's where you get Maze Overlay. So now I don't have limits. I just know how to balance it to where you come up to someone and it's like, hey, you want to talk about DMTs and chakras? And they're gonna be like, what the fuck? But you come up to somebody and be like, yo, you want to go hit a lick? You know, you can't hit somebody with these extremes. You gotta like, you know, you gotta kind of ease them into it. You gotta be like, hey, you ever heard of this before? Check this
I,
out. You know what I mean?
I'm just
You can't shock people like that.
the thing with me is I really believe I pick some of the best lyricists. I try hard and I'm getting better with every choice.
Mm-hmm.
What fascinates me is every fucking lyricist is different, man. Like their personality is fucking different. And that's what makes these interviews interesting for me is like the way they think creatively, man. It's and you're definitely a fucking creative. I'll say that, man.
Yeah,
So
I figured that out. To be honest with you, I think rapping is only I'm being a product of the times. If I was
right,
born 300 years ago, I might have been a painter, man. You know what I mean?
right,
I might have just been an activist. I might have been a Freemason. I might have been a fucking, you know, a writer. You know, I might have wrote almanacs and fucking, I might have been an alchemist. You know what I mean? But I think that they're all forms of craft, and you know, I'm I just know for me, I don't have a lot of skill sets that other people have. I know that my skill set is definitely my voice and my ability to put words together. That was trained. I was taught to do that. I liked to put words together. I excelled in English. When I would fail other classes, I would excel in
right.
conversation in English. So, you know, writing became a catharsis for me. And then using how to and training my voice and using how to use my voice as an instrument became an art form for me. You know what I
How,
mean?
how long does it take you to write a verse? Because your shit is pretty well thought out.
Man, it really,
Just curious, are you one of these speedy writers, or you take your time, or how does it work for you?
when I say it's like a maze, dog, it's all over the place. Like here's how it looks. I'm working on 5
Right,
projects at one time at all times because I need to express my mood in all those different areas. I can sit down and focus on one project. I've done it before. I've done it all different ways. I've sat down and wrote a project in 4 or 5 days and recorded it
right,
in 5 or 6 days and had it done. Done. 35
right,
minutes, 11 songs, full project. Now I've taken 2 years to do a project. I've taken 30 minutes to write a verse. I've
right,
taken I've taken 30 days to write a verse.
right,
It's literally like that to where sometimes, depending on my priorities, like, you know, my whiteboard looks something like this. I'll let you peer into this fucking mad world, but my shit looks something like that, right? To where
right.
I kind of keep things on. I don't want nobody screenshotting my shit, fucking getting all fucking, you know, all up in my shit. But you know, that's the game plan right there, man. So when I'm like, I prioritize things, and sometimes I'm like, no, I got to get this done. I never force it. I just can't force it. I think that's just stupid. Like don't force nothing. Because then the art is compromised. I find it where I love writing. I love putting pen to paper. So the majority, let's say someone was like, yo, I got a track, I have a deadline, I need it back by tomorrow. I'm probably gonna take about 4 hours, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah.
And now that's like, here's the thing, I'm not gonna sit there and go straight through. I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna write a verse, maybe the first part of the hook, take a break, smoke something, get a bite to eat, maybe drink a beer or something.
Yeah.
Go play with one of my kids, come back, hey, I'm gonna focus back on it, finish the hook, get back to it. Boom. If I'm dedicated, it take me about hour and a half.
Do you use a pen?
Yeah, I use a pen. Random.
Got it.
Random pens around here, but just
got it.
Random ass pens, man. Like real pens and paper. I don't do the shit on the phone, dog.
But by the way, before I forget, I'm just putting in the ether. I think you and Shoddy 305 need to put out a mini project.
I love these mini
projects. That's what I'm gonna say.
You guys are. I love it.
I think you need another mini project. I'm giving you another mini project.
I got Shoddy on my on my Enzo project. It's one of my best ones, man. No, I'm not. Look, a lot of people push, like, people was, man, what's up with you and Daniel's son? What's up with you and this person? For me, when it
whispering shit in your
ear. Yeah, I get it. I trust me. I love it. Shoddy's my dog. When things happen, they happen like that, like on the spot. You know what I mean? Like they really like. You know what will happen? It'll happen when you link up. Motherfuckers do the show. Yeah. They start and they link up a couple more times, and it's like, yo. Sometimes you link up with people and you don't vibe. So it's like, still fucking music, still going to put on my shit. Sometimes you link up, it's like, yo, not really like the same energy, the same frequency. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you're on that similar frequency, man, you really vibe. Like a lot of times you end up doing joint shit, or even if you just see each other on multiple projects. You know what I mean? Like I respect Shoddy's work, and Shoddy has been he's one of the artists like myself that. If they fuck with you, they're gonna drop your name in other people's ear because they really want to see you win. Shoddy is that guy, and I do the same thing for him because it's reciprocated. I want to see him win because he's stupid talented and he's smart as fuck. He's a businessman. He's respectable. Love the way he does the street elements there. But he's not over the top with it. And that's what I really love about Shoddy is because it's so tasteful, but still grimy and raw. You know what I mean?
I can listen to the shit every day. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what mood I'm in, type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, they gonna have so many dope ass sound bites from this fucking motherfucker.
Oh, bro! For people that don't know, like, I don't care how long we run. I mean, I'm gonna try and get us wrapped up in the next 30 maybe, but I chop this shit up into clips. I see how many clips people can tolerate, but there's definitely going to be a lot of dope clips.
I don't give a fuck, bro.
Circulate, bro.
Like, if anything, man, I think that on all levels, I got people that love to see me and people that hate to see me. And either way, they're fucking looking, bro. So, let's give them something to look at, dog. Give them something to talk about. We already aired out the Arizona shit. Love that segment. That was my favorite segment. Whenever Coach is telling me to relax, I know I got busy.
Right. Tiff Bet, it's a great interview. When that's coming from King Tech's assistant, that's a compliment. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Right. So moving along, if you go to your Spotify, the first project you see is Retro God 2021. Super tight concept. You're taking it back to when you were born, obviously, and kind of describing the beginnings there in various tracks.
Right.
Why is that the first album on your Spotify? Was that some sort of turning point for you where you realized where you're going, or why is that the first one?
For me, it was a turning point. I think I had people that would disagree. A lot of my counsel at the time was like, "You're just rushing to put something out." And for me, I'll be honest here, is what it really is. That's what it really is. I'm gonna be ultra raw with this one. Retro God was like, I needed to test the waters, man. I needed something to shoot some videos for. I was paying a certain amount for these videos, and I was like, I can't just shoot for anything, right? So I got with Grim at the time, Grim Moses. Me and them were kind of starting Calistro, which is basically a collective made up of me and him, and then eventually Mason Graves, right? We all kind of came up on the underground together, so I had respected their opinions, and I was like, yo, what should I fucking shoot for? And he was like, you should shoot a video for this low sports shit. So I was like, all right, look, I'm in the midst of putting this project together. I mean, I didn't have an album cover until damn near a year later, right? This was just like the preliminary stages. I was like, I don't want to put
Right.
out, I don't want to shoot a bunch of music videos for like random songs.
What,
Which now
was that before the album was done? Was that before the album was done?
What's up?
Was that before the album was done? You were already talking video, or after it was done?
I was ready to shoot a video. I just wanted to shoot a video.
Right.
The
Right.
album was not done yet. The War Season joints weren't there. Me and Arza's he a native dude from Phoenix, man, and he out in LA now, but he was at the show too. But Arza kind of like provided me with a lot of beats to kind of start my shit off, and then I had these tracks recorded. I mean, I had like, bro, like when COVID, this is like right after COVID, right when COVID happened, bro, I literally just made like 3 albums, 4 albums, right? So I just went nuts, recorded like.
I feel like everyone did that. But, not as many albums, but everyone came out of the woodwork, bro.
I've released, listen, I probably literally made 70, 80 songs. I've released to this date maybe 7 of them, okay?
Right.
So a lot of people too, I've been talking to a lot of MCs lately about their process because I'm such a fucking, I hoard material, right? That's how I work. And because I'm very creative, I got a high work ethic, so I have a lot of material. I scrap shit. I take work that I've done. It's unfortunate. I send it to the producer and be like, bro, I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, but I can't release this.
It's good though. A lot of people don't know how to scrap shit.
Fact.
They don't have it in
them.
them.
So for me,
that's good.
Retro God was like, I don't do EPs. That was an experiment. I wanted to see where I was at, how many people were gonna buy the album, what my response was. I had done a couple videos. I put that's all I made the album cover, right? It was an in-house kind of thing, and I wanted to see how it was gonna work. And the jump between Retro God and Border Kids is real, right? And I showed people that I wasn't just like playing around. I really wanted to contend on a major underground circuit.
Go ahead.
What was your other question about Retro God specifically? Why Retro God?
Yeah, why was it the first one? But I think
think about it. I started at the beginning.
Yeah.
I started at the beginning. I wanted people to see. This is what I'm talking about. When I step back and look at my entire career, like Mac Miller did Swimming in Circles, right?
Yeah.
You have AT-Aliens and Aquemini. You know what I mean? Like they're these.
But
I think there's a greater vision than just record, release.
Was this a planned reset? Like, yo, this is where we're going to start with me. This was planned.
Yes.
Let's start at 1984.
Yeah. The project was originally called 1984. Didn't want to have the whole George Orwell spin on it, even though there's parts of that in there. I cut that down from like 14 tracks to 7 tracks. And
good for
thanks to my boy Jules. He goes by Supreme Slime. He's got this cool little, the way he writes it. But my boy Jules, War Season, at the time, that's all I had. And they were able to give me such rigorous feedback. They were the only people that told me, yeah, that's cool, but that beat's fucking weird. That shit don't fit. Be like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And for me, for years, I was that guy. And I realized, as much as I want to think I'm the next Ricky Rubin, I got work to do.
Yeah.
And I'm still training my ear. I'll tell you like this. I'm not musically trained. I feel very similar to Rick Rubin when I say that I just have good taste.
But by the way, you blew me away when you said you do your own engineering. I was like, because I don't expect that from a lyricist of your caliber. I don't know why. I just those worlds don't mix that good in my head.
And the cat's out the bag to a certain extent because nobody knows I engineer my own shit. So this is the first time anybody's gonna know that shit. You know, actually, I think Lukey Cage touched on it when I did the Abyss podcast, but I think it was mainly in the beginning of the interview before we kind of got deep into it. But yes, so I do engineer and I do master my own records as well. I will not go into the details of how I do that, but I will tell you that it is from years and years of rigorous training and having mentors and being in multiple studios and operating multiple studios and turning all the knobs back
This
and forth for fucking
this,
15, 20 years.
this is the shit I want the common person to respect about what artists do. I mean,
Mhm.
I know this is for artists first, and maybe people that really appreciate artists that want to learn the process, but the dedication that goes into this shit, I really want people to know, it's, and you've put your time in, clearly, right?
I appreciate it.
Honing your craft. So,
Time is one thing. Me and Loretta Records was just talking about that, Observe, and time is such a missing ingredient in things. And a lot of times we live in rush, 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 rush. I learned from Jay-Z, one of the most powerful quotes in hip-hop ever, was him doing an interview saying, I don't speed up or slow down for nobody. So I go up my pace. I don't, look, people are going to be dropping shit, releasing shit. Did you hear, oh, you hear this? I'm not running a race with anybody. I'm running a race with myself. I know the
yeah,
pace I need to be on. I know what I want to accomplish. And most of it's sitting on my fucking hard drive right now. So I'm good. Like people reach out, you need beats? Absolutely not. But I always accept them. Every fucking time.
yeah,
I never turn down a beat. I've never turned down a beat. I rarely turn down a feature from a producer. Hey, I'm putting together a project. I'm a producer. I want to get. If I like your beat, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? I've never honestly. I've only charged a couple people for a feature just because they were like, "Yo, I want to pay you for a feature." I'm like, "Give me this." I want to work with people who I find talented, that have put the time in, that are seasoned, right?
the,
No pun intended.
the other thing that I like about this album, like you put your age up there, 1984. I
True.
like that. Fuck it.
That's right.
I respect
My
that.
boy didn't like the retro god shit. He's like, I don't like this retro god shit. Everybody want to be a god or something. I'm like, look, what's funny is I put that shit out. Like before that, I was putting a lot of those little Nintendo little things, man. Look what
Yeah.
I see, man. Everybody rocking these Nintendo shits. Everybody, it's cool to be vintage now. It's cool, man. Like I'm not saying anybody looking at me. The fact is I was in tune with where the trends were going, and it's not about anybody biting or nothing like that. It's about being aligned with that frequency. And retro shit, vintage shit, that's kind of synonymous with the Renaissance or the Resurgence.
Yeah.
So,
I
go ahead.
I like your description of shit. 1984, the track one, part one. Nickelodeon and Dope. I'm a kid again. They try to give me Depakote and Ritalin. Just those little lines. Nickelodeon and Dope. I'm a kid again. It just brings you back to kind of where you were at.
Bro,
It's. I like those kind of details.
84
So
was iconic, man.
yeah.
A lot of things came out. Ninja Turtles came out. Terminator came out. Crack cocaine came out. There was a lot of things debuting in 1984, and I got to be a part of that. And I think there was a lot of stigma behind George Orwell writing this novel, and just coming into into the Reaganomics era, and seeing how iconic how crazy it wasn't iconic because I was born in it. It was iconic because '84 was just crazy, right? The Olympics, the whole shit. It was just a lot of shit. You know what I mean? So, for me, it was like I'm honored. I feel like part of me being special, everything lines up. You know what I mean? Like it's not just this isn't a me experience. This is a us experience. You know what I mean? I just know that I feel special and I feel like I have something to give. And I feel like that year was something different, man. So I feel bad when people are born in like 85 and 83. I'm like, oh man, you just missed it.
And by the way, Deadstock '94 is my favorite track of yours, produced by War Season. So when you said you're doing a full album, I was like, "Fuck, should be dope." I won't lie, I might have spun it.
Don't worry, we already got 3 albums done. We already done with 4.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have spun that tune 100 times.
I love it.
It just got the old school drums and the way you float on it. It's one of those things I put on repeat.
Let me pretend to be War Season for a second. He's like, man, it's cool, man. I just did the little Fender Rhodes thing, threw on a fucking drum break, and
Yeah,
it's alright, but
it's shit. It's garbage.
Hey, I swear to God, that's what he's saying right now. I swear to God. But no, man, I appreciate it. When I made that track, that was my favorite work by far at the time.
Was it?
Oh yeah, until I recorded like Diamondback. I still think that 94 Deadstock's a better record because it's a cohesive, but tough to say. I wouldn't even call it a better record. I just say there's a certain energy about it. But Diamondback's it's just a monster. I think, just, hey, War Season's favorite track on, Aztecas, Diamondbacks. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, I heard that. And it's like, it's over after that. That's the one. He's like, he was like, we need to get one in like that. And I'm like, man, me and War Season got the Daniel Son record that we have on Shooters Galleria that's coming out is fucking incredible, man.
Looking forward to hearing that.
The Rifleman is special, man.
I'm trying to get him for an interview, man. But we'll see what happens.
He's Canadian. He's gonna Daniel Son. One thing I do know about, I will tell you about Daniel Son. He shows a lot of love. Daniel Son is one of the artists you'll meet in the underground that never really is like too big to respond. He's solid. So
that's what I've heard.
He may just be real busy. Not to say he always responding to everybody. I'm just saying he's not real the ego guy. So if anything, I'll send him a message for you, man. I'm not his big homie or nothing, but
no pressure. No pressure.
Check it out. We'll give him his flowers, man. Like what?
Dude, I've interviewed.
Give Daniel Son his flowers on this motherfucking interview right here because.
Bro, listen.
Let it show him this clip. Show him the clip of him getting his flowers.
I'll say it right now. Maybe he'll hear it. Every city has its come up story. Forget about country in hip hop. The come up story in Canada to produce a Daniel Son in our fucking climate in Canada, it's been decades, bro. I've been listening to this shit since the 80s, like as a little kid. What he's done, like, is a big fucking deal for Canada.
I agree.
That sound,
I agree.
Like, bro, I would big him up huge if he was on the
Daniel
show.
Son is someone also like, he's a little bit of a mystery too. It's kind of hard to tell like what he is, where he's from. He's got a very unique sound, and people they kind of take a step back, like, who the fuck is this? What is this? Like, and that's what got me because I was like, he's after my own heart because I love the pauses, I love the cadence, I love the pocket where he could like, man, that pause could be, but the book is at a bird, like, and it's like this real like rumble, and he kind of reminds me of like he's like a Canadian kind of Pac with that fucking with that cadence he's got, bro. And I knew that he was special from the jump.
Where you pause in your verses communicates character too.
That's right.
Pauses make the shit sound professional. That's know what I mean? Sound proper. Yeah.
War Season was actually listening to them back when it was like, I think Division Rivals or something like that. Like he was way back with them too, So he's been tapped into this scene for a minute. I have not been. I'm like new to the scene. That's why I'm like, I don't really use terms like Renaissance and whatever. Like to me, it's just things come full circle, man. I'm grateful for it, but I'm new to it. To me, I'm just making dope music. I'm making the same classic shit that I grew up on. That I'm just emulating it in my way. And keep in mind, I'm also like, I'm a hybrid 2.0. I've been through the psychedelic shit. I've been through the double time shit. Like Kendrick is that guy to me, Nipsey's that guy to me. Big Crit is incredible. Tobe Naghiwe is incredible. Mick Jenkins is incredible. J.I.D. is dope as fuck. J. Cole. There's so many talented artists out there that I don't just pull from the underground, but there's so much talent on the underground too. You know what I mean? That's why it's like for me, I blend it, man. I take parts of the East. I take parts of the West. I take parts of the South, the Southwest, where I'm from. We have our own little sound, That's what Aztecas is supposed to be. And even that Aztecas is just introducing you to the idea that Arizona has its own thing.
But by the way, I feel like in like Retro God, you landed on a new cadence. Like I've been writing rhymes on and off since I was a kid. You know, not taking it seriously the whole time, but I never like changed my cadence. I feel like you landed on a new cadence. Is that a fair statement? Like the way you
Yeah,
stress your last 10 words like every few bars
yeah, no,
as
I
something new.
definitely. It was a progression for me to like, you know, because when I talk, I could be kind of lackadaisical. So when I perform, it's very much like I enunciate. Like Rock Marcy, when he performs, is probably going to use a little bit more of his regular voice. For me, I just
Yeah,
I just turn into Ghostface or something. Like I just I get on
gotcha.
stage, bro. I can't just. I try to. I actually try to play with my. I try to bring my voice back to, bro. I'm just loud. I just want to yell. I just want to wild out. Like I want to. Yeah, yeah. And when I yell, my shit raises like 4 octaves, man. And yeah, it wasn't. People have asked. I've heard about people talking about like, oh man, does he put an effect or something like that? Like, there's no effect. I don't put any effect on my vocals other than EQ, reverb, compression, DS, or normal shit. It's the fact that when I'm recording, I'm getting the chance to actually enunciate, like I would be performing.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
so sometimes on my hooks, I use a straight up like, and sometimes, yeah, so I mix all these vocals together.
Yeah,
And in
to make
between,
it
I'll make it,
dynamic.
like if you ask me to rap, I'll be like, yeah, Maze open like boom, and I'm immensely going into rap voice. You know what I mean? I don't rap like, yeah, so I'm chilling and I'm doing my thing. Like I
Yeah,
don't rap like that. So, there was a cadence change. There was an energy change. There was a change in energy. And for me, it was all about like, I want it to be very clear and concise. I want people to hear my fucking words and it just cuts through.
yeah.
When you hear me on stage, when you hear me, no matter what the fuck, where the fuck it is, no matter what venue, you'll hear my fucking voice. And you're gonna be like, yo, that's this.
It sticks out.
Yeah.
It sticks out,
Like Daniel,
and it's
like
polished. It's
Mickey Diamond,
polished.
like fucking, like Ransom, like SD Nag, West Side Gun. Their voices just Action Bronson, Ghostface, Schoolboy Q,
Yeah.
Hendrick, Andre 3K. You hear their voices and you're like, that's him. Yeah,
Otherwise, you get lost in the shuffle. You get lost in the shuffle. Oh, it's good
yeah.
that you landed
Appreciate
on that. So I want to talk about one more album. Fuck, I want to get you out of here at a reasonable time. How are you doing? You good?
Yeah,
You good?
I'll take a piss in a few minutes and I'll hop back on. Chilling, bro.
Want to talk about Border Kids because I thought that was just a very tight concept, and I'm wondering, like that album was about transporting shit back and forth between Mexico and Arizona.
A lot of it.
Is that a fair? A lot of it. And you're describing what it was like to be in that spot, geographic location, involved in that kind of life. I mean, straighten me out if I don't have it right. Has anyone ever done a concept album like that in Arizona where they're like just describing that life on the border?
I wouldn't
Because
say
I
no.
thought it was a really tight concept.
I wouldn't say no, they haven't, but I mean, I had some of the people that founded like the scene in Arizona tell me like that's the best conceptual album that Arizona has artists has put out. Got the New Times write up. I think it had more to do with the concept than anything, than the lyrics, than the beats. I think we represented an entire like region. It wasn't just Arizona either. New Mexico, El Paso, West Texas, like all the border towns, Nogales, like Tijuana, Rocky Point. Like we went there as kids. Like we really did the shit that I'm talking about. And
You 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 talk about walking through a textile factory at
yeah,
15.
no, literally.
I'm just like those fucking details. That's what makes
So you used to
that
be able
album.
to take the train. You would take a little. You would take this trolley in Diego to this train, and then the train would take you basically to the border, and you would hop off. There was all these textiles you walk through, and you could just walk back. There's multiple borders. There's a border on Nogales with no textiles, where you're just driving across the fucking border. There's like stops and shit. There's a couple different spots. I think Sierra Vista. There's a couple different spots you can hit the border. We was back and forth all the time. Half the time, like,
At
man, we
15?
15,
At 15?
16, 17, 18, like it was
Right.
Rocky Point, there's a spot called JJ's Cantina. Like, there's all these little strip clubs, all these crazy ass bars, motherfuckers doing coke,
Right.
strippers. Like, we was drinking at the we was drinking at the bar when we was 15 years old. 16.
I thought you were talking about moving weight, but that
No,
could be,
yeah,
maybe I
no.
misunderstood.
We're talking about. I mean,
The whole thing.
we're talking about doing that shit too. I mean, yeah. It wasn't just partying in Mexico, bro. We would,
Right.
bro, the pharmacies were, bro. That was the main thing. We could bring money, go right to the pharmacy, stock the fuck up, and that was the main shit. You know what I mean? You get coke.
Right.
You get coke in Mexico too. There was that too. You know what I mean? There was like, I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I guess you want accurate stories. You want Mexican.
No. I don't. I don't. No, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. If you got specific questions, you can ask me. We talking 20 years ago, dog. Like, I don't give a fuck.
No. I just find it wild the way you describe it. Like, the lyrics are literally wild. You're talking about being in 15 in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
doing shit. That's crazy.
The main shit over there was like Valiums and Xanax and shit, bro. So, as kids, like, for all intents and purposes, we're young white kids in Tijuana. We pop over, go to the bar, drink like 3, 4, 5 Coronas. Remember, I'm pound a Corona just to walk it through or whatever, just to calm the nerves and some shit. Like, it was literally like pop up to the bar. They serving up Bazzola hip hop. I fucking love that shit. They literally serving us. We kids, bro. So we sit there, drink some beers. We hit the fucking I'm dying. Yo, we hit the pharmacy, dog. Just pick up like $500, $600, $700 worth of fucking Xanax. You go back, Xanax and Val. You go back, bro. We just literally put that shit in the bag, and we would walk across. They'd say, what country? What's your country? Or whatever. We'd be like, America, and they'd be like, all right, get the fuck out of here. They just go. Half the time, they're not even searching you unless you have like a grip shit. So it's like, you come back, you got like 4 fucking Figaro necklaces, right? Because some 8-year-old just hustled you for fucking $25 for some silver chains. Fake as fuck, I'm sure. And, we crossing back. We got a bunch of silver. We look like tourists, man. We got a bunch of silver on, Bitches got a puka shell necklace, and, they chewing on some chiclets and shit. Like, man, I'm telling you, like, never in your life do you ever think you're going to have, like, a 5-year-old trying to hustle you. But I'm telling you that the 5-year-olds are the best because you feel so bad. You're like, I got 5-year-old money. But before anything, it would hit the pharmacia and fucking get the fucking shit, and then
I just like the way you describe the shit with your lyrics and the beats you chose. Like, it puts you in that space and time. So yeah, man.
And that was kind of VHS's MO too. Was the a lot of the Spanish Mexican loops, and it provided that scenery, and I did what I did, man. And it's super Arizona sounding, but once again, entering in, to like my rebrand, it's like I wanted people to know. And that was a look into the whole Southwest. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not just me. Remember, this story that I'm telling is not just me. Like, it's not just mine. Like, I've been through most of the shit that I'm talking about, but they're like, when you hear Crime Life, I'm talking about a lot of real people and the stories they've been through. Young girl. You know what I mean? It's just, that was the landscape. Yeah, Boo Boo knows. Boo Boo the Prince knows. He's in Diego. Diego's right there. It's the whole shit. He a border kid too. It's the same shit. We used to take the 8 into Diego. Boom. Those are certain cities in the Southwest and on the West Coast that are like, it's all tapped in, man. And especially being an East Coast kid, Italian kid, coming out to Phoenix, bro, I'm one of a kind, bro. There's no one like me that's coming out of Phoenix. And you only knew if you grew up in those areas. If you're from El Paso, even San Antonio, El Paso, New Mexico, Arizona, those are like parts of Cali, Diego, like at the very bottom. We're all connected, man. And it's a culture, and it's an untold story. See what I'm saying? See, Tijuana Nights, man. That's a song title right there, dog. That's a song title right there. I don't know if
I guess
you familiar with Boo Boo?
My homie, La Primera Division, aka Cove. I guess you got a family on the border too.
Bro,
sounds like
it was about. Look, I was telling a story like, even though I'm not Mexican, we repping for the peoples, dog. And there's motherfuckers that are we. I mean, bro, we get all our produce from Mexico, dog. Like Like that's a part of the culture. That is the culture. You gotta remember, parts of Cali and Arizona was the Alamo, dog. We damn near grew up in Mexico. You know what I mean? Like my neighborhoods that I'm from. What do you think it is? It's predominantly Mexican, dog. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about just a bunch of bum ass essays. We talking about business owners, motherfuckers that came over here and started careers, bro. Fed their family. Like real shit. Like this is a part of our culture, man. It wasn't just about a bunch of cartel shit and trafficking drugs, but that was a huge part of it. And when you look at the epidemics that the Southwest faces with a lot of the influx of all that dope and all that shit, bro, my sister was hooked on dope for years, bro. Real dope. Who you think her connect was? Straight up cartel dudes, bro. Like this, we deal with a different dynamic. Our dynamic is different, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's like all the I could tell you crazy stories on both sides of the coin, right? Where there's 15 to 35, dog. You know what I mean? So like, my Mexican cooking just as good as my Italian. Real shit. I could speak
Right, right.
Spanish. I could speak more Sinaloa Mexican Spanish than I speak Italian. So, that was the inspiration behind telling the story, like Aztecas, border kids. It's an untold story, man, and we want people to know.
Yeah, and that's why that project sticks out. So I want to stop and talk about that. I'm gonna fast forward through your work because I we don't have time to go through all of it. But I do like this quote from your Azteca album. I forget what track, but I feel like it describes you pretty well, and you're really dope at describing shit. You said, "Working out my karma from all the home invasions, feel my ego slowly dying like a COVID patient,
Mm,
fear and loathing in Arizona, intoxicated, psychedelics in my blood.
got it.
Now I got to face the drama like it's sheet music. I see the trees moving. I hear the wind start to sing, so I speak to it. All the pride and the glory I can see through it. I'm just telling my story with a beat to it."
That's
I like that one. I think
dope.
it sums you up pretty good.
Now we getting better. You see, like honestly, like the new vision shit is cool. The thing shit is cool. The structure and the transitions on the new shit is just way better. And here you see some of New Vision, right? You see some of the psychedelic. It's also
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Arizona. We have, you go up north and you can have peyote rituals. The natives play um, a huge role in our culture, Native American, and it, there's that element. It's a more of a spirit, even. You know what I mean? Like Arizona just has that vibe, dog. It's trippy out there, man. And we got Sedona and we got all these places where it's really conducive to awakening. You can't go to Sedona without getting into some new age shit, dog. Go, go take an eighth of mushrooms in Sedona and you'll thank me for the rest of your life. All right.
Plus the heat.
Oh yeah, you'll burn
Plus the
that
heat on
shit
top
too.
of
Yeah,
it.
all that, all that. So it's like it's special, man. Arizona's a special place, dog. But I'll tell you this, quote me on that. I want that to be like on my gravestone. Like, take an eighth of mushrooms in Sedona and thank me later. Like, thank me when we get to the fourth dimension, dog. I don't give a fuck. But see, you ain't even ready to talk the alchemy talk yet, man. I don't even think you could possibly get
Part
there.
two,
There you go. There you
part two.
go. There you go.
So I'm ready to close it out. I like throwing some fucking interesting questions at the
Mm-hmm.
end, so I'm gonna fire them at
Mm-hmm.
you, and then we'll call it a
Mm-hmm.
night. It's been a pleasure. Um, so one second here. As far as no, I already asked you that. One second. The type of rap that you do, I guess your current iteration of what you do. Uh, what do you see as the ceiling on this style of music in terms of like reach or maybe financially what's possible?
Mm-hmm. What do
Do you even think about it? Do you
That's
care
okay.
about it?
What do I think? You asking me about like the specific genre that we're in right now?
The subgenre of hip hop that you do today, what do you think the ceiling is on that in terms of reach and just like financially? Is that something you think about?
Mm. Yeah, I mean these are conversations that me and Coach have a lot, and me and Ward have a lot, and me and my counsel have a lot. You know, we're very, very like tuned into what we're doing, what direction we're going, what lane we're in, the sound we have, the art, the concepts, everything. We're very, very tuned in. Without giving away everybody's perspective, I think that we understand that there are limitations in every genre, right? Like, you know, it's or in any type of like being put in a box. Anytime you're like, oh, it's just this style of hip hop, it's this style, it's this. Naturally, I think there is a threshold, but like you got people that break that threshold, and then like maybe you start off like on some underground shit, and then you start off on some underground shit, and you become Griselda. You become Willie the Kid, Rock Marciano. I think that those are examples of ceilings to me, where it's like even though they're still growing, I feel like when I look at this lane in this genre, I see people at the top like Griselda artists, Rock Marcianos, and I'm like, that's what the top looks like. Whereas you look at the top in a commercial circuit, and you have your Mac Millers and your Kendrick Lamars and your J. Cole's, and certain people that are on the top of there, and then you even have like even more shit, like more commercial shit, like Nicki Minaj and Drake, and there's so many different circuits that I think in the underground. Once, I mean, if you were to look at it, like if you were to try to quantify it, once you reach a certain level of sales and you reach a certain level of notoriety, if you're selling 1,000, 2,000 records or something like that on a vinyl drop, and you're getting, you got 1 million+ monthly listeners. You're talking about being at the top of the underground at that point. I think at that point you transition to like, a Dave East, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
different artists that are okay. Yeah, they were underground for a little bit. They were doing mixtapes, they were grinding, they were hustling, but then they break through, right? They start to
It,
compete on a higher level, and I think that as long as you're able to reinvent yourself, and you're never too good to grow, and you always reinvent, you're never gonna cap, because it's always gonna change. And remember, you don't have to cater to any genre or any certain sound. You just make it from the heart. You may be compared to somebody, right? If you rap, you're always going to be compared to a rapper, but you can't put Common and Tech Nine in the same fucking breath. You know what I mean?
I,
So
I, I, I won't lie. In many respects, like Action Bronson has been like my idol in many ways. Just the level he's at. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
seriously.
yo,
So
Action Bronson is like a spirit animal to me. You know what I mean? It's like,
you like
yeah,
Bronson?
I love Bronson because of what he did, man. Like that's incredible. I'm a connoisseur too. Of course, I fucking love
Yeah,
Bronson. Like watching him do it, I was like, fuck yeah, that's dope as fuck. Like to
yeah,
see him, that gives me a better chance. I've been a connoisseur
yeah,
for
yeah,
how fucking long? Like I'm on this connoisseur shit. I'm like, fuck, all I want to do is just like go out to eat and be on this motherfucking show and just rap, do it, maybe open up or something. You know what I mean? But when I really break it down, we're different. We're different. Like no matter how being it,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's the illusion, right? Like I have way more conscious shit. I have way more street shit. Like my shit,
yeah.
way more storytelling shit. Like
Br-
Bronson.
Bronson doesn't hold a theme. He just throws crazy thoughts,
I mean,
which is
and
entertaining. But
sometimes don't get me wrong. He could rock his shit. It's just different,
oh yeah,
So I realized
yeah,
that what he did was special. That's why I'm not doing it how he did it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of that new school in me, man. I have a lot of that West Coast in me, that Nipsey,
Yeah.
that Kendrick. That's not what Action Bronson sound like. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's where the Arizona comes in, and it's like just as much as I have that East Coast backbone, I got West Coast in me too, man. And you're gonna hear that West Coast in my cadence. You're gonna hear that South in my cadence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That pronunciation, because I spent time in all those places. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
No, no. So thank you for answering. Thank you. And here's the last question. The last question, and then we'll close the show. What is the most misunderstood thing about Maze Overlay?
Ooh, man. The most misunderstood, man. Probably in general, my perspective, but I would say like my ethnicity seems to always be in question, you know, where it's like, what is the dude? What's your background? What's your culture? What's your ethnicity? I think it's kind of hard to pinpoint, you know, but you know, I think more than anything, it's just my perspective, man. Like the way that I put things out there sometimes is like, what the fuck is this dude on? If you listen to my entire catalog, you'd be extremely
Right.
confused. You'd be extremely confused. You know what I mean? I feel bad for the listener. You'd have to go on a 16-year journey, and like maybe you don't even got to do mushrooms after that. You could just fucking live vicariously through my shit. Strip the fuck out on my story. I don't fucking know, man, but it's possible. I think everybody's misunderstood to a certain degree, and the better I learn to communicate with my listeners and with people like yourself and the world in general,
Right.
the better I'm gonna be understood. You know what I mean? And I'll be understood better by my haters, by my lovers, by my followers, by everybody, man, by my critics. I think everybody serves a purpose, man, and it's okay. Sometimes, like people aren't even gonna understand; they're just gonna feel it. You know what I mean?
It,
So that's why,
it sounds like you don't mind being misunderstood.
nah, that's
Anyways.
why I embraced it. That's why my whole shit is Maze overlay, dog.
Right. Right. Right.
It's hard to figure out, man. So, and honestly, I think we ask as humans. I think we ask the same question that the Creator asked, man. What am I? Where do I come from? How am I infinite? Right. So I'm asking the same questions. Why Maze? Why Maze overlay? I'm asking. I remember I had somebody, I was locked up. I'll leave it with this, right? He goes, I was sitting there writing all these rhymes, man. I'm sitting there working my ass off, trying to like. He's like, man, you always writing. He's like, you always rapping, you always writing. He's like, why would I listen to you instead of all of my favorite artists? What's so different about you?
This is in jail.
Yeah, I was locked up at the time. I was up in Kingman, Arizona,
Right.
right? I was on a prison yard, and I was like, that's a good fucking question. So I immediately went and I wrote a song called Iconoclast, and I was just it's all about breaking the mold, right? And I think that for me, it's not like trying to be different. It's just being myself because I'm that fucking different. I'm that fucking different, and I'm okay because the world has enough people that blend together that are just gonna go to work, never ask questions, and pay the bills and file taxes and just do the status quo. Right? They're never gonna do the
Right.
crazy shit we do. I swear to God, the universe or God or energy or consciousness looks at my life like it's a Seinfeld episode, dog. I'm willing to go through crazy shit. I'm willing to fly places and do wild shit. I'm okay. I ain't scared of nothing, right? Other than like dying in prison or something, right? That would suck.
Right.
Scared of that shit.
Right.
I don't want to be eaten by lions either. But I'm just saying, I'll still go to Africa. I'm still gonna go on the fucking the tour. You know what I mean? See some lions. Shit happens. I'm willing to go there, and I feel like the more I'm willing to put myself out there, the more the universe and God gives me to handle. And I've had an amazingly entertaining life, if nothing else, man. Like it's been entertaining as fuck, and I gotta laugh about now that I went through all the healing and all the mushrooms and the DMT and all the new vision stuff. I was able to heal so much trauma and face so many demons and work through so much of my fucked up past life and how I lived, you know, coming up and all the fucked up shit that I was able to get to a point where I understood, you know what I mean? And I was like, now I just try to manifest my vision, man. You know what I mean? Like it was all for something, bro. I wouldn't have got to this point if it wasn't for all the new vision and all the psychedelics and
So
all the healing, man. So now I'm really, really showing people what I am. Like why me? And my response is like, why not?
so going back to my commentary on my platform that you've heard me say, you need a story worth rapping about. You got a story worth rapping
That's
about.
right.
Thank you for putting out dope music.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming on. I want to shout out everyone that's been with us. We're 2 hours even. I think the time flew by.
Easy money.
Thank you for tuning in. Anything else you want to say? Any shout outs? Any projects you want to highlight that you're working on before we depart?
Yeah, I just want to shout out my people, man. Uh, Shout out my boy Ghost. Shout out my family. My boy Bird. My boy Pena. War Season. Coast of God. Um, my boy Jules. Shout out Tiff. Shout out your whole platform. Ty Ferris, Bars Over BS. Everybody that's been in my corner. Copenhagen Crates. Everything we're doing is for a reason. This shit is really special. We take this shit seriously. Like I said, me and War Season already got 2 in the bag. I want to finish by saying that we are gonna be dropping, or we are gonna be shooting some sort of pilot for like an actual like series at some point in Arizona this year. I have some projects coming up. One of them's called 84 Testarossa. One of them's called Enzo, and these projects are fire. We're finalizing artwork and just getting to the point where we're gonna get everything out there, man. But we got some serious shit coming on the horizon. Shooters Galleria is about to drop on the 21st. We got the vinyl coming at the end of the month. That's the joint with War Season and myself. Shout out
I'm looking forward to that one.
My boy Luke. Sure. Yeah, no, for sure, man. This is like I said, me and War Season got 2 other projects already completed. We're just finalizing shit. Since you got Wino Willie tuning in right now, me and Wino Willie are working on something right now. We got an amazing artist. We have our concept finalized. So, you're looking, I mean, just right there, you're looking at 2 or 3 projects that are, completed and ready to go. And then, I'm working on the Willie shit right now. So, there's some really, really, really dope shit that we're cooking up right now, where it's, this shit never sleeps, man. And then one thing you'll notice about me is I'm rarely sleeping. I'm always up. I'm always getting to it. And I always try to make myself available. And we're working hard as fuck. Coach working hard as fuck. War Season's cooking up shit that every time we get together and cook something up, it's better and better and better. Shout out my boy Bishop, Black Hand, Rob De Niro, all my Phoenix family. Shout out The Umbrella. Shout out Ja King. Shout out Vegas 7, the Ronin. We got a good thing going, man. We got a really good thing going. So I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for having me on. Excited to get this music to y'all. Excited for the new videos, everything that's gonna come out. Excited for the pilot. Whenever you want to tap in with me, let me know, man.
I'll just let you know, on my platform, like, I'm not running around posting what's trending. My first priority is finding dope artists to interview. My second one is pushing their music, because I like to think I pick artists that will never fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So I trust anything you put out will be of a certain quality that I'll be the first one to fucking promote it on my page. That's just what I do. Otherwise, there's no meaning to this shit, So yeah, man. Looking forward to all that new shit and sharing it with the world. And have a great night, everyone.
Man, appreciate it. Let's tap in again soon.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.